is Juan Aguilar. This will be my digital portfolio presentation for Art 4001. For the contents of this presentation, we have artwork and written, we have the self-portrait, the scale painting, the object of desire, paper cutout, and the sketchbook. For the written assignments, we have the museum paper, the curricula vitae, and the philosophy of education. The first artwork assignment was the self-portrait, including a self-portrait of ourselves and other details regarding identity in the background. For my self-portrait, I included obviously the self-portrait of myself. I also included a graffiti piece, as well as two flags representing my identity and a character of my own creation. The process of this piece was long because we had to utilize the entire page, or the entire paper. Overall, I enjoyed this assignment. The next assignment was the next artwork is the scale painting, where we were supposed to scale an 8x12 copy of a famous painting onto the watercolor paper. The painting I chose was The Scream by Edvard Munch. I chose this because it's an iconic image and I wanted to recreate it. We recreated them using gridding, where we scaled up the 8x12 copy of the painting and we gridded it and then we painted on. The process for this one was a little bit long as well because it's paint, and overall I enjoyed this assignment as well. The next artwork is the object of desire, where we were supposed to choose an object of desire related to education and recreate it using one box of cardboard. The object of desire I chose was a science beaker. The process was cutting out the pieces from the only box we were allowed to use, shaping it as best I could as the beaker, and then gluing it together. After that, painting it. Overall, I enjoyed this assignment as well. Next was the paper cutout, where we were researching different forms of paper cutting from different places like Mexico, China, and Japan, and we were also supposed to research some artists in the paper cutting field. I decided to make this composition about culture. I included a flag, flowers, and some animals. I decided on these animals because when I visit Mexico, not often, but I visited a couple times, I've seen horses, and the most recent time I went, I saw a lot of scorpions, so I decided to include them in this composition. And the last one for the artwork was the sketchbook, which are sets of 3 drawings and a list of elements of arts used in the drawing, the principles of design used, and a VAPA standard supported by the overall drawing. So on the right, you can see all the different sketches, as well as the labels for the elements of art. For the written assignments, the first one was the museum paper, where an assignment was to visit a local art museum, pick out 2 artworks, and write about them on a paper, as well as write about our experience at the museum. The museum I decided to visit was the Broad in downtown. It was my second time visiting, and the 2 pieces that caught my eye were Untitled by Jean-Michel Basquiat and Mao by Andy Warhol. These pieces caught my attention because I felt like they were different from what I would usually see in a museum. The next assignment was the curricula vitae, which was a comprehensive description of academic credentials and achievements, like education, work experience, skills, and awards. On the right, you can see all of that on one page. And next we have the philosophy of education, which is statements or a statement outlining beliefs and values about the purpose, goals, and methods of education. My mindset behind this paper was that educators should go above and beyond for their students, that the extra steps that they took are the most important parts, and that would show students that they're passionate about what they do and would inspire them to become passionate as well. And for the lesson plan that I decided to choose was grade. This assignment in particular is for 2nd grade. Standard 2.3, individually or collaboratively construct representations, diagrams, or maps of places that are part of everyday life. The time for this assignment would be 1 hour. And the learning objectives, students will learn the layers of the earth. Obviously, they will be given prior information about the layers of the earth. Students will gain a better understanding of the earth's layers. Students will neatly apply their knowledge in a hands-on activity, neatly, of course. For the process, students will be provided a paper mache sphere that they can cut out and color accordingly. They're also going to cut out 3 circles of construction paper. They're going to use one for the base, and the other 2 circles are going to be folded in half and glued onto the base. Students are going to label the layers: crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core. And finally, students can color the layers and the outside of the earth. The crust will be brown, the mantle will be red, the outer core will be orange, and the inner core will be yellow. And for the materials, it will be paper mache, paint, construction paper, glue, scissors, markers, newspaper, and paper towels. On the right, you can see an example of the layers of the earth, and on the bottom right, you can see an example of a finished product with one of these, or with the lesson plan. And on the bottom, you can see the assessment rubric basing or grading them on their understanding of the layers, correct labeling and organization, following the shapes and colors, and neatness. Thank you.